consciousness. Let's go higher. The time's come for me to change the way I think, to change the way I feel, for me to go beyond what everybody thinks, what everybody says is real. Today I take a step into a time and space of peace and possibility, and here I'm gonna stay until I find my place, my true divinity. Higher consciousness. Let's go higher, higher in our consciousness. Let's go higher, higher consciousness. Let's go higher, come on, in our consciousness. Let's go higher. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with just one step and one idea. I'm moving on, not knowing what is coming next. I'm getting close, I'm getting near to a part of me that touches everything, uniting all reality. I'm the middle between what earth and heaven brings. I am the I am the we. Yeah. Higher consciousness. Let's go higher, higher in our consciousness. Ooh, yeah. Let's go higher, higher consciousness. I'm on my way. Let's go higher. I'm going today. Consciousness. Yeah. Let's go higher. I'm gonna touch the sky with my mind, holding tight. Clouds passing by. I'm gonna touch the stars. It's not very far. There is no limit to how high I can fly. Let's go higher. Come on, let's go higher. You can go if you want to. Let's go higher. Let's go everybody says is real. Today I take a step into a time and space of peace and possibility. And here I'm gonna stay until I find my place, my true divinity. Higher consciousness. Let's go higher, higher in our consciousness. Let's go higher, higher consciousness. Let's go higher, come on, in our consciousness. Let's go higher. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with just one step and one idea. I'm moving on, not knowing what is coming next. I'm getting close, I'm getting near to a part of me that touches everything, uniting all reality. I'm the middle between what earth and heaven brings. I am the I am the we. Yeah. Higher consciousness. Let's go higher, higher in our consciousness. Ooh, yeah. Let's go higher, higher consciousness. I'm on my way. Let's go higher. I'm going today. Consciousness. Yeah. Let's go higher. I'm gonna touch the sky with my mind. Passing by, I'm gonna touch the stars. It's not very far. There is no limit to how high I can fly. Let's go higher in our consciousness. Come on, let's go higher. You can go if you want to. Let's go higher. Let's go higher in our consciousness. Higher consciousness. Oh, yeah. Let's go higher. It only takes one step, one idea. Let's go higher. Let's go higher. Let's go. Let's go higher. Let's go higher. And higher. In our consciousness. Let's go higher. Next. Higher consciousness. Consciousness. Let's go higher. Now is the time. Consciousness. This is the place. Let's go higher. For us to higher consciousness. Let's go higher. Let's change. Let's rearrange. Let's go higher. All of the things that need to be transformed. Let's go higher. The world now the same. It's no longer a game. The world is not the same. It's no longer a game. Higher consciousness. Let's go higher. Consciousness. Let's go higher. Higher consciousness. Let's go higher in our consciousness. Let's go higher. The time's come for me to change the way I think, to change the way I feel, for me to go beyond what everybody thinks, what everybody says is real. Today I take a step into a time and space of peace and possibility. And here I'm gonna my true divinity. Higher consciousness. Let's go higher, higher in our consciousness. Let's go higher, higher consciousness. Let's go higher, come on, in our consciousness. Let's go higher. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with just one step and one idea. I'm moving on, not knowing what is coming next. I'm getting close, I'm getting near to a part of me that touches everything, uniting all reality. I'm the middle between what earth and heaven brings. I am the I am the we. Yeah. Higher consciousness. Let's go higher, higher in our consciousness. Ooh, yeah. Let's go higher, higher consciousness. I'm on my way. Let's go higher. I'm going today. Consciousness. Yeah. Let's go higher. I'm gonna touch the sky with my mind. Passing by, I'm gonna touch the stars. It's not very far. There is no limit to how high I can fly. Let's go higher in our consciousness. Come on, let's go higher. You can go if you want to. Let's go higher. Let's go.
of astrological cycles, astrological intelligence. Can you put the presentation? Yeah. Click the piece on the bottom. There you go. Give it up to my daughter. She got it. She got it going on. With a little preparation.
Yes.
To the right. Astrological cycles. Let us know online if you can hear as well. Mic check.
I see the mic is
Oh, you see that?
it's selected as it's playing from the phone, but I know there's like multiple sources. So.
Yeah, it should be coming through the system. Here we go. She's working online if you can hear as well. Mic check.
I see the mic is
Oh, you see that?
it's
Yeah, you need to silence. I think that's your phone that you just opened up.
Leave it right there. Leave it right there and ask for mic check.
Mic check. Mic check. That means it would be coming through the phone, which is not the best quality. We want the microphone to be the system, right? Mm-hmm. The audio system.
There you go.
Cometic Neophyte says we have audio. Let's see. We're just trying to coordinate the room and the stream.
Yep, leave it right there. We good to go.
Good? One more time. Do we have sound? Online. We're good in the room. Sorry about that. One more time. Cometic Neophyte, can you hear us now? Okay, beautiful. All right, let's get it going. So flip the slide for me, Sakara. Put me on the last one where the slides are bigger than me. Oh, there it is. So what I'm sharing with you today is about the Cometic Meditation Journal. The Cometic Meditation Journal is a compilation of the training that I received over the last 40 some odd years by the master teacher Ra'u Nefer, referred to as the Shechem or Shechem. That's the Kamitic title for the leader of the nation, right? The Shechem or Shechem. Ra'u Nefer, the author of the Meduniter book, the intuitor of the Meduniter Oracle, founder of Star Set Society, distinguished composer, international lecturer, diviner, counselor. Thank you. And the Ma'ad 11 Laws meditation course creator. This was His Majesty just a few weeks ago at our annual Kamitic Festival in our temple in Pennsylvania, in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, where he delivered a lecture on empowering your manifestations, right? Where he helped us to understand that the science of manifestation is not something that just got started, you know? It has to do with the keys to your spirit and your psyche and understanding that, which is a central part of Cometic and other ancient spiritual technologies, right? You know, there's a habit, especially by commercialized Western world, of compartmentalizing little segments of the truth for marketing purposes, you know? So yes, his course on our new platform, which is called Cometic Legacy, that's Kamitic legacy.net, is now available worldwide on a internet learning platform that we designed and built ourselves. It's our own Black Wall Street of the mind, right? So we are rolling out that platform as we speak. It's in its beta stage right now, but we have the Ma'ad 11 Laws course, we have the Power Your Manifestations course, and we also have a course called Union with God, which deals with the Cometic winter solstice. Winter solstice, as you've heard, is a very important, powerful time of year, right? It's the foundation of the holy days that have become the holidays nowadays, where it calls us to pause, right? It calls us to set aside time and energy to do the most important work, which is the work of unifying ourselves with God, right? It's been said that God is with you, but are you with God? God is omnipresent. So God is right there with you. But you know, you could be walking down the street with somebody and not really acknowledge what they're saying, right? You can be in a relationship with somebody and not be relating. You're with them, but you're not really with them. You know what I'm saying? Not you two. You'll work that out. So yeah, God is with us. You know, it's kind of sacrilegious to say to somebody, "May God be with you," because if God is not with you, where's God? If God is out in the presence, God is already with you. So it really is, may you be with God. May you be receptive to God. May you be in harmony with God. May you be in sync with God. But being in harmony and sync with God, it doesn't just come easy. You have to do some spiritual work to get in harmony with God. And then you got to do more spiritual work to stay in harmony with God, especially in those challenging moments of your life where other parts of your being want to move you in directions that are not the right ones. So our ancestors dedicated this time of year, right, which is in December in this hemisphere, to reuniting, reinforcing our union with God. And there's 90 days of meditation and journaling and spiritual work, introspection that is prescribed, right? Especially periods of 21 days to 24 days in a row of certain meditations and things that's recommended that you do, right? To align yourself with your higher self, with your true self. Keep yourself on the right path. So that's what union with God is about. And now it's available on your little handheld device. It's available anywhere. You can just pull it up, get your meditation track going. You can pull it up, review the work of your assignments, because there's assignments to be done. There's meditation scripts. That's something that some of you might not be familiar with. When you think of meditation, you think it's just a process of learning how to relax, how to, go into, a kind of internalized state. You're in the habit of throwing the word around very non-technically, like, well, I meditated on it and this and that. That's a very scientific thing of how to go into meditation state. And going into the meditation state is just the beginning of a process of what to do in the meditation state. So Ron Liff has developed the Kamitic meditation script system, which works with the natural way our behavioral process works, right? And incorporates affirmations, right? Affirmation is not a great word, because you can affirm a lie. You could be saying to yourself many times a day, I'm shy. The thought comes to you, you're shy. You affirm that, but you accept that thought, right? I'm out of shape. I'm just not smart when it comes to those things. Those are affirmations, if you affirm them. So you can affirm a lie. So you use the word truism, right? A truism is an affirmation that's based on law. It's based on truth. Like when you say to your person, I'm made in the likeness of peace and nothing can disturb. Peace is my natural state of being. That's a truism. You're reciting a spiritual law and affirming it within your mind so that it takes root in your mind. So combine the affirmation, and affirmation needs to be done with the proper visualization. So we call that creative visualization. Again, people compartmentalize stuff, sell your courses on creative visualization, this, that, and other. No, the two of those have to go together. That's the hermaphroditic principle, which comes down to use the hermaphrodite from the Greeks study in our system, right? That your truism, your affirmation or your mental recitation of what it is you're trying to program into your mind, and you do have to program your own mind, right? Turn off the programs. They even call it a program. They even tell you when they're going to give you a different program, interrupt your regularly scheduled program. Some people get scared and say, wait, are we going to program? Yes, your mind needs to be programmed. It's constantly being programmed, but you need to be in charge of the programming of your mind. So that's what the meditation script is. You got to put the right verbal thoughts in there. That's the truism or affirmation. And then you need to accompany that with the visualization. And those two go together and they lock together, and that's what creates etches that behavior into your soul, into your so-called psyche or your so-called subconscious, right? And then you want to associate your behavior, your correct behavior, your observance of the law with the achievement of your mundane goals. That's a legitimate connection, isn't it? It's a legitimate connection. I know sometimes we think we can achieve our mundane goals without being in alignment with higher law, right? But we know in the long term, that ain't gonna work out for you. You don't want to achieve material things and so-called success, achievement, and then still have a miserable life. And we see lots of people bear witness to that, right? We want to achieve great material success, material objectives as a consequence of our spiritual growth, development, our character, and so on. Then we can have real success. So the meditation script brings these factors that are already related together in your meditation practice, right? So this journal, you can flip it. So these are some of the courses. Keep going. We'll come back to that. Keep going. There you go, right there. So this journal is a compilation of the practices of doing this. So I'm calling Cometic Meditation Journal. It is a calendar, and we'll talk about why that's important, because that incorporates the laws of cycles, and a journal, meaning a place where you can record your meditation scripts, your revelations. When you're really meditating and working with the cycles properly, then your so-called subconscious is going to be communicating. It's already communicating with you, but in an intentional way. And you want to record those dreams. You want to record those revelations that you received, right? You want to chronicle that so you can go back, especially when you understand the repetition of cycles, and you can see, oh yeah, I had that dream, and so, boom, and look at how that turned out. And then in that cycle, once you see the cycles and the signatures, everything starts to come together, and you start to receive, you start to confirm the communication from the Spirit, because the Spirit is talking to you, communicating to you constantly. You just don't know the language. Maybe you know the language. Some of us don't know the language, or the language is not clear to us. But the numbers, the colors, the personalities that you see in the various planets and so forth, it's talking to you all the time. It's talking to you all the time. Our ancestors codified the language of the Spirit. So you know when you have that dream with that cat was in it, or that vision, right? I came out of a meditation recently and had the feeling that I had a cat under my foot and needed to be careful not to step on the cat. There was no cat there physically, but it was so vivid. And there was a message, because I knew what the cat stood for and who the message was for. If you don't know that language, you're just like, I don't know, it's kind of a weird thing. But your Spirit's talking to you all the time. So in the journal, you have these correspondences. Let's go into some of the material here. So for example, April of 2025, you see this image of this beautiful woman. You see the words hetero. This is blocked to you guys, right? It's all right? Okay. Okay. So first thing we need to clear up about Cometic spirituality is that our people from Kemet understood and articulated, and they chiseled it in stone for us, that the name of the Supreme Being is Nebuchadnezzar, which means Lord of all. So if you're in the habit of saying Lord, you've been saying Lord for thousands of years. We were the first people to refer to God as, well, we can only talk about what's written in stone, right? Who was first, but we can see thousands and thousands of years ago, we refer to the one Supreme Being as Nebuchadnezzar, was one of the titles. That was the Lord of all. And this one Supreme Being created the world out of its own substance, and everything conscious in the world is a reflection and division of the one consciousness of God. In the same manner that you, as a collection of trillions of cells, those trillions of cells developed out of one cell. Isn't that right? Through a process of division. So to identify that the one being is in these various cells, and these cells are divided into different organs that have different functions and capabilities within your body, because the brain cells and the liver cells and the immune cells are different, aren't they? They're different systems within one body. Is not to deny the unity of the one body. So we have been maligned as polytheists, right? In order to justify the raping and pillaging of our ancestral cultures. And religion, I know some of y'all not into religion because religion has been used to justify all kind of things, right? Even up to this very present day, right in front of your face. Religion being used to justify genocide, stealing of land, and so on. So we get that. That's why a lot of us say I'm spiritual, I ain't not religious. So put me in that category. I don't want to be, lined up with that, right? But religion means to unite back. That's the meaning of the word. So we are not polytheists. We understand there's only one supreme being. But in order to practice medicine, you cannot have a science of healing the body and not be able to distinguish the different parts of the body. That'd be a heck of a thing, right? You got digestive issue and somebody says, well, I don't know, let's look at the whole body. No, you want a digestive specialist, right? You got a cardiovascular situation, somebody should know how that system operates. What are the laws governing that system? And what are the things that we need to do to approach bringing wellness to that system, right? So any science, you have to be able to break down the whole into its functional parts. And that's what we represent as the Neteru. So Heteru in this case is one of the representations, one of the imageries that's used to represent an aspect of the divine spirit that you, being made in the divine likeness, also have within you, right? It's part of your divine nature. And this aspect of your spirit has a lot of things that it governs, but it has a sphere of activity and operation that includes your powers to manipulate things in your environment through your imagination. So we're talking profanities right now. You might say, well, I didn't curse, but we're talking profanities because we're using words like the imagination, which is we're saddled with that with the Western language because it's not a very scientifically well-constructed word, and it triggers in your mind a dichotomy between what's imagined and what's real. And you say, oh, it's just my imagination. Running away. No, I'm sorry.
Exactly.
Talk about triggers, right? Yeah, there's another song, sister says, in my mind, we're still together. That's dangerous. We're not together, don't imagine that. It's working on you. No, what you visualize in that space that you call your mind, your sphere of awareness, what you focus on, you are imagineering. You are engineering that. You're mobilizing the astral forces, the electromagnetic vibrations of your psyche to go get that thing. Right? It's a very powerful part of your spirit. So you see her here and she's smelling this flower, and if you know anything about your sense of smell is deeply rooted in how you form memories. Right? How many of you can remember the smell of your grandfather, your grandmother, or something, right? You can remember, you can walk into that house, that person could have transitioned to their ancestors 30 years ago, and you could smell something, oh man, it takes me back to my takes me back to that, right? So what you're looking at is a magical code when you see this image. What's she doing smelling the flower? This is telling you that and she governs the five senses, that the engagement of your senses in the process of visualization, in the process of memorization, in the process of magically bringing things into fruition in your life or manifesting things is one of the magical keys that she holds. And she wears the crown of, the solar globe, right? Because that's a symbol of the power of the Holy Spirit to magic. What you call magic is when you can make something happen in the physical world through a metaphysical act. You didn't do anything physically. You did some kind of mental operation and you brought something into being, right? And she's got the bull horns because that's a symbol of productivity, right? Bulls make a lot of babies. In fact, one bull fertilizes the whole field. The bulls don't share the cows. That's nature's way of saying, no, we want only the best. Whatever the strongest seed is what's going to populate the next generation. Right? I'm not advocating a lifestyle, I'm just saying that's nature, right? So when you see the bullhorn, that's saying the virility, the power to make lots of things happen in the world. And you say, man, this person's extremely productive. They're extremely creative, right? that process of creation, production, right? The sexual act, the physical creation, production is just a replication of what you mentally and spiritually have to do in your life. You got to bring forth all kind of things into this world for your life, right? And that's what you share with the Creator. That's your creative power. So this is all talking to you about this part of your spirit, and that this is something that we all are dealing with, whether you're dealing with it by accident, whether you're dealing with it haphazard, or if you're spiritually initiated or spiritually trained, now you're dealing with it intentionally. You understand this is a key part of my success in life. I need to master how to work with this part of me, right? I need to live the laws that govern how this thing functions, right? So that's why each of the Netaru so-called gods, that's a translation of the word that we would use for the presiding intelligence of. The presiding intelligence of, right? If you're in poor and lousy cardiovascular health, you're breaking a divine law, right? But there's a presiding intelligence of how to keep yourself in that state of health, how to cultivate that, how to maintain that. Same thing with all the faculties of your spirit. So now, what does this got to do with the calendar? Well, each of these faculties is also on a schedule. It's on a schedule throughout the day. It's on a schedule throughout the month. It's on a schedule annually, right, throughout the year. And the lunar calendar, right, is giving you an opportunity, because the preeminent energy of that particular month is fueling this faculty. Does that make sense? Right? And when you don't know the language, you don't realize when that energy is preeminent in that month, and certain things are happening or not happening in your life, and you think it's just luck, you think it's just chance, you think it's just, whatever. It's because you don't realize that there's, besides how you're planning your life, and you're thinking about, well, what I'm going to do this month, what I'm going to do this year, that's your mind, and you're not in touch with the fact that there's an internal cycle of energy that's happening, that's affecting you and everybody in the world, whether you recognize it or not. And when you happen to hook up with that cycle just by chance, then it's like you jumped on the escalator, right? Instead of taking the stairs. So for somehow, some way, you just kind of hooked up, and then things moved with ease. And you're like, oh man, I'm having a good month. I don't know, things are popping. Things are going, looking up. Things are going better. And then another cycle, and you're not only not on the escalator, you're falling down the stairs. You're trying to think, why am I having such a rotten month? Things were going so good, and all of a sudden, it's because you don't know that there's an internal clock. So that's what the Kamitic, one of the calendars, there's multiple calendars, right? We talk about the winter solstice, and now we're talking about the solar calendar, which our ancestors created, right? So that's the cycle of the year. So these 90 days in the cycle of the year have a certain significance. But within that is a cycle of the month. Let's see what else we have here. Keep going. Astrology. So astrology, in the back there, I need a time check to know where we're at, right? Astrology is the science of how astral forces affect our behavior, right? How astral forces affect our behavior. Anybody have an astrology chart? Mine was blown by the accuracy of the information, right? How you can tell from somebody's birth, just when they were born, certain things about their personality. Isn't that very strange? Does that make you just want to say, want to sit in a corner and chant, for a long time? How does that happen? How is it possible somebody can be born this day, in this month, in this place, and then somebody else can be born this month, this day, in this place? What happened? We lost that. Oh no, I thought you were signaling me. Okay, all right. How does that happen? And how is it possible when you really get into it that even based on the time of birth, two people can be born the same day, and based on distinction in time of birth, you can tell certain things about them that would be different? It's a mind-blowing science. So our understanding of that is that this atmosphere of the earth is supercharged with these subtle electromagnetic energies. And that when you come out of your mother's womb, not when you're born, because you were born way before that, but when you come out of your mother's womb and you take your first breath, that a part of your being, one of your 7 bodies, we call it the Kamitic, is infused with that energy, and that shapes your personality. Amazing. Thank you. But the thing that we want to talk about today in our brief conversation is the fact that that experience didn't stop when you were born. The fluctuation of that energy that had such a powerful impact on your personality and your skill set, your aptitudes, is still happening. It's in the air that you breathe. It's there affecting you every day of your life. So intentional astrology has to do with if I can know the schedule,
on the screen.
if I can know the schedule of the dispensation of those energies, and I have the science of how to take that breath, like the breath I took when I was born. I'm speaking metaphorically. It's not a literal, but I could eat, I could absorb the energy that I need. Thank you, brother. I can absorb the energy that I need to accomplish a given thing. Does that make sense? That's the real astrology. Because the ancients will tell you that the wise person rules their stars, and the fool is ruled by their stars. It's like mastering the weather, right? Like the great sailor said, it's not the direction of the wind, it's how you set the sail. How you set the sail. So astrology is giving you the schedule of the wind. It's giving you the weather. It's telling you what's happening. And then you have the ability to set that sail so it will take you where you need to go. Yes, sir.
Are there any books or resources that you would recommend that elaborate on that?
Definitely. It's called the Cometic Meditation Journal.
That's the one right
That's
there.
You're in the right place. Oh, and not only that, when you buy the Cometic Meditation Journal, if you scan the little code on there, there's a membership site that gives you more information and conversations like the one we're having right now. We have some recordings of that and stuff so you can get deeper into it. Right? Yes, sir. Glad you're here. Ultimately, you want to get the Ma'at 11 Laws course, because that will give you all the meditations, the mantras, sounds, and all of that. It's my partner, Dr. Ahmad Wakia, right here. Give my hand. That's my brother right there. He's the one that was inflicting pain back there. Yeah, so this is a journal here we're talking about. So we're going to move quickly through some of this material here. Here's something to think about, right? Look at those 2 words. You ever put those together? Very close, right? Angel and angle, right? Meaning our ancestors, they lived so long. When you have a stable society for thousands of years, you get to observe, just like the elders that are here, right? Any of you younger people, you need to give respect to your elders. You need to sit down and have conversations with your elders. You need to follow some guidance from your elders because They've seen things come around more than one time. That's what one older person said. I've seen things come around a few times, right? When you're young, you don't know. You think something's new. When you've been around a while, you've seen stuff come and go, come and go, come and go. So the same thing as a society, when you see changes happen, like right now we're in America, like, dang, what's going on? Things are changing. We're going ahead, we're going back, you know? Like, this is a very young country, you know, only a few hundred years. When your society is thousands of years old, you've seen the revolutions and the evolutions, you've seen the times of feast and the times of famine and the rise of certain kinds of attitudes. And with the science of astronomy, you've been able to notice that the triggers for things and the movements of the stars and the planets is like the hands on the clock. It's not the actual time, but it aligns with the cycles, the invisible forces and cycles, right? So you begin to notice that when that star was there, when this astronomical phenomena came together, then this is what was happening on Earth. That's how they learn this. So you begin to see the pattern. And then you also learn that what is inspiring the behavior, right, is a stream of consciousness, is an indwelling intelligence. That's what other cultures, they call that an angel. So the angle's telling you what angel. Think about it, right? 360-degree circle. Come on. So what we've done here is we've aligned we realigned the understanding of the astrological cycles that we're all familiar with: Pisces, Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, and all that, with the Pau Neteru. The Pau Neteru is the so-called company of the gods. Again, it's not gods. These are aspects of the one supreme being. These are the divinities. These are the Orishas, Obasul. These are the angelic forces that give you the indwelling intelligence, inspire you to genius. What you call the genii is what gives you the genius. It's not a genie in the bottle, right? The genii is the genius of God that manifests in many different forms, right? Helps you to intuit the laws and how to align with that part of your spirit, and gives you the powers of manifestation to bring forth magical acts. You're meant to be a magician. You're meant to live by the Spirit, whether you know it or not, because you're a divine being. You're made in the likeness of God. God don't have to do things with physical hands and feet. God may just manifest things through his omnipotence. And God shares its power with us. It's the likeness that we've been made in. So this alignment helps you to understand how to live in harmony with these different faculties. You are not your stars. You are not your sun sign or your moon sign or your rising. That's not who you are. That's part of your personality, but that's not the totality of who you are. And you are meant to be able to put on these different personalities like you change your clothes. You got dressed to come to Kwanzaa, you might have worn something else to work. You're going to wear something else when you go to paint the house. You're going to wear something else when you go to another type of an affair, right? You got to go to a funeral. Different things, you put on different suits of clothes. These personalities, suits of clothes that you put on according to how you need to show up for that aspect of your life. So you are not your wardrobe. And some of our wardrobe is very limited. We only got 3 sets of things that we can only show up in 3 different ways. No, you're meant to show up all kinds of ways. You share in the omnipresence of God. Go ahead, Sakara. This is a beautiful quote from Revelations. It says, on either side of the river was a tree of life bearing 12 kinds of fruit, yielding fruit every month. And leaves were used for the healing of nations. What is that talking about? What is this tree? Well, I'm here to tell you the tree is the Pau Neteru. What is a tree that bears fruit every month, a different type of fruit every month? See, this is code language for those with eyes to see. There's something in the Holy Spirit that is dispensing a fruit every month. And also the leaves can be used for the healing of nations. So every month, every lunar cycle, there's a divine power there for you to eat. And fruit is the most nourishing thing, right? Fruit is full of antioxidants and nutrients, vitamins and minerals, right? So you're supposed to eat from the spirit. And the leaves of the trees for the medicine. So any problem that you have in your life, any illness, any dysfunction, any social challenge you have, the leaves, the medicine, the herbs is being dispensed from the spirit. You just don't even know. The fruit's rotten in the field because you weren't aware. That's what the lunar calendar is about. It's what fruit is available this month. Next. Go ahead. We talk about that another time. Keep going. Yeah, let's go back. Go back one. Just to give you an example, right? The Palestinian slaughters started in Hergulti cycle. In fact, the invasion, the incursion into Palestine started on the full moon of the Hergulti cycle, right? Hergulti is a warrior aspect of the spirit, right? That's why he's represented here as a martial being, a hawk, a warrior bird, right? With his spear, his sword, his cudgel, and so on. Corresponding to the fifth sphere of the tree of life, for those of you that have studied the Kabbalistical teachings, the Palmetto Rule. So this aspect of our being empowers us to bring justice, right? To bring correction, to bring ourselves in line with the divine law. That's the primary function, right? Sometimes you got to go through that process of putting the law above yourself, above your person, your personal interests, right? That's why they said in the old days, the executioner, had to be alone, had to live alone, apart from society. Because you couldn't execute somebody you had a relationship with, you had affections for, you'd be like, oh man, I knew this person, they were really good, no, that's a process of separation. And we got to inflict that justice on our own persons when we realize that there's certain things about ourselves, right, that have to go, that are old and outworn, that we might be very attached to, very used to, very, comfortable with, and we need to be able to bring a part of our being into focus that enables us to cut with that behavior, with that way of functioning. You might have a child, you might have multiple children, and you realize you can't raise each of your children the same way. You can't be the same with each of your children because your children are different. Some of your children can respond to the word, others are going to respond to other things only. Some you can just talk to sweetly and they'll follow along, and others you're going to have to bring some fire, right? So in the African tradition, we do a reading. We already know what this child's path is, what's their destiny, what do I have to do to raise this child properly versus this child versus that child versus the other, right? But if I'm like, well, I don't really like to be this way, or I'm not comfortable doing that, so I see, then my child's upbringing is going to suffer. Because they're being raised by a parent that can't bring what's necessary, what they need for them to develop properly. So I don't teach them the things, and unfortunately not have to learn that in the world, which is not going to be comfortable. It's not going to be good. You follow what I'm saying? So I need to be able to invoke some part of my spirit that can say, you know what? That's not you anyway. Cut that. You can be this way. That's what Hergulti's for, ultimately. And it has to do with justice. It says you live in the likeness of God, where instead of seeking vengeance, you allow the law of reaping what has been sown to automatically restore the balance between what has been disturbed, while you hold in your mind thoughts of redemption for the ones who have transgressed against you. Meaning the essence of this law is you must know the distinction between vengeance and justice. There's a distinction between vengeance and justice. Do I need to say anything else about that situation? The distinction between vengeance and justice is on the display. And you can judge you can judge the behavior according to the divine law. See it? So those who have eyes to see, who know what time it is, say, oh man, this happened in this cycle. I know what the governing law, divine law is. I know how to put myself in order with that and how not to stray. Because this energy that's come up, that's helping to precipitate what is happening, right? It's just an energy, and energy is not moral. Energy can be used for good or for bad. See? Go ahead. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Oh, there it was right there, right? Full moon, Hercules cycle. That was one example. Keep going. Here's another one. This was Kamitic cycle. Kamitic is an aspect of God, the angel so-called, that governs the roads, that governs transportation, that governs locks and keys and doors, the opener of the way. So we had a bridge in Maryland called the Key Bridge. So there's two things right there. There's a bridge, and it's called the Key Bridge, which collapsed in Kamitic cycle. Right? Next. Gemini. This is Google's AI, right? Just a coincidence. They introduced Gemini, which is the astrological sign that Kamitic governs, right? Kamitic is the divine intelligence that governs what you call Mercury, the mercurial type energy. And there's two mercurial signs, right? Gemini and Virgo, right? Are governed by Mercury. If you're not familiar with astrology, that just means the sevenfold categorization of energy. You know, like we use in the week. You got Monday for the moon, Tuesday for Mars, Wednesday for Mercury. Man, go listen Spanish, right? Thursday for Jupiter, Friday for Venus, Saturday for Saturn, Saturn's day, Sunday for the sun, right? So you can categorize your zodiacal signs according to one of those seven energies, and you say, well, that's the Lord, or that's what rules that constellation. So Mercury rules Gemini. You follow me? So in Kamitic cycle, they introduced a product called Gemini on the day of the week of Kamitic, a Wednesday. And you see on your calendar, it also has those 3 hours, right? That's 7:13 a.m., 12:41 p.m., and that's military time for 7:02 p.m. What's that about? That's advanced meditation. If you want to do something in the hour, on the day, in the month of, then you really get a full meal when you're eating from the tree. All right, keep going. Oh, and this is my famous story. I got to end with this one. So Heteru governs water, right? So on a Friday, I was in the sales business. You all heard this story before, right? No? Okay, good. I got 3 people that haven't heard it. All right, 5, 6. Okay, here we go. Well, some people are like, tell this story again. I can't make up anything better than this. So I was selling insurance, right? Because my career, I just found out, is to be a priest. Just figured that out. But I stumbled through a lot of things in the process. And one of the areas was sales. So I sold some things. I sold some insurance. So I worked for one of those companies where you needed some life insurance, right? You know, the federal government only pays $256 when you die. Leave your loved ones, with a burden, leave them with a blessing. Blah, blah, call this number, right? So I was one of the guys that got that slip of paper, and I had to go to your house and convince you to buy some life insurance, right? So this is Heteru cycle. Of course, I've been doing my meditations. I've been praying for wealth. I've been praying for business and to get out of this thing, right? So I get this lead. You got to go, I think it's the next one. Here we go. So this was the lead that I got, the person that called. So his name was Waters, and he lived on Water Street. And I said, okay. And this is on a Friday. So Heteru, or Oshun, right, governs that's the aspect of the divine spirit that governs the waters, what we call the sweet waters, right? Meaning the waters you can drink, the river water, and so on, right? As opposed to the seawater that's set, right? So I'm already like, okay, wait a minute, what's that we're talking about here? So it's Water Street, and then her number is 5. Her number is 5, right? So his address, 5405. How are we doing on time, Brother Lloyd? I see you got your coat on. We good? All right, good. So 5405, when you learn this science of correspondence, right? You say, okay, you got to collapse the numbers. So 5 and 4 is 9, and 9 and 5 is 14, and 1 and 4 is what? 5. So I got the number 5, and I'm going to Water Street. I said, wow, that's pretty deep. Let me see what's happening. I guess I'm going to sell some insurance. So I walk in the door and you try to make conversation. I said, oh, Mr. Waters, you live on Water Street, man. You must be the man. They named the street after you. Ha, ha, ha. In the corner, you know. And he says, yeah, that's funny. You think that's deep, though. Check this out. I'm in the water business. I said, what? The water business? What's that? He said, let me show you. And he brings out this manual and teaches me about water purification. I said, this is deep. I'm not selling no insurance, but my ears are open. So he's told me about the water business. He told me about the chemicals that's in the water. You all heard about the forever chemicals? PFAS and PFOs. And this is the chemicals that in our genius we have manufactured that will never go away, that are in everything, in the environment, right? He told me about the jet fuel and all the kind of stuff that's in the city water and the chlorination and stuff, the residues of the chlorine and the plastics, the microplastics. You know, they went to the top of the Alps, took the snow, and what they found in the snow? Microplastics. They went to the bottom of the ocean, you know what they found? Plastics. And you're drinking plastics, the plastics going into your body. I'm sitting there like, what? He said, yeah, there's only one way to get it out. You got to go through this process, ending with, a double-stage reverse osmosis, whatever. I said, I don't know what you talk about, but I'm going to check this out. So he taught me about the water business. Now you got to go backwards. So he says, I know a guy who can help you get the equipment. His name is Thames. I said, oh, like the River Thames? Are you kidding me now? So I call up this guy named Thames, and he's in California, and he tells me about it and all this, and how you can set up a water store, which is a commercial water purification business. I had no idea I wanted to do this, that this was even a possibility. So I flew out there, and I checked out the place, and he showed this was in California, and California was several years ahead of the rest of the country when it comes to environment and understanding these kind of health measures. And you know how California is. There was one place he took me, there's a water store on all 4 corners of the block. I was like, wow. He said, yeah, this is going to be big, man. This is going to blow up on the East Coast. You need to check this out. I said, okay. So Mike Thames, so I said, I don't know where we're going to get the money. You got to get this, this right there, $15,000. That was just some of the equipment, and you had to get somebody installed and all that. I said, okay, so if I could do this, how am I going to put this together? I don't even know, I can't know how to put this equipment together. Go ahead, Zakara. Drop it on him. Boom. I know a guy. His name is Hudson. I said, come on, God, you got jokes. Like the Hudson River. Sure enough, Hudson was a professional water technician, came together and he put all the equipment together and set it all up and got me up and running. Unbelievable. Go ahead. Oh, and then I also learned about water. My spiritual teacher teaches about so many things. Do you know that there's a doctor? Go to the next one. This is him right here, right? Water consciousness. You ever heard of this? Dr. Masaru Emoto, who did experiments. Now you can go backwards, right? Where he took a vial of water, just put a word on it. He wrote a vial of water on the vial of water. Thank you, wisdom, truth, eternal, peace. You fool, polluted water. Oh, that's the prayer action. Evil, you make me sick, right? Look at the crystal structure. Whatever you think, whatever you speak. That's why when we eat, right, we pray. You gotta pray to get food. Why do you pray? Why do you pray before you drink something, before you eat something? Because that's the ancestral knowledge that your thoughts are so powerful. They can physically change the structure of what you're about to put in your body. Yeah. So we learned about that. Go ahead. And then we learned, this was a great one too. He introduced us to this. I can't even pronounce his brother's name. Your body's many cries for water. He shows you that there's a list of hundreds of illnesses that are really the expression of dehydration. So in other words, I was trying to get a sale. I was just trying to feed my family, but God had a larger, like, you can make some money at the same time you can find another expression of your purpose and do something healing for your community, right? You can educate yourself about the power of water, proper hydration, being able to drink water and cook with water that's free, you know, of these chemicals that are poisoning us. Next one. So that's how we gave birth to New Waters, Purified Drinking Water Company. Yeah. I'm so thankful. And this is our label that's on our bottles. You see what we wrote on there? People might think that's just, you know, that's just some nice things to say. We also have pouches around our water containers that we meditated over with crystals and herbs, so that as that water's sitting in that tank, it's infused with our healing thoughts. People come back like, that's some good water. I don't know why, but I feel good when I drink that. It's like, Yep, that's our business right there. That's a filling station that we have. So we purify the water. That's a system that we got from Mr. Thames and assembled by Mr. Hudson. He puts it through a 6-phase purification process. Comes out as the cleanest water on earth. Yep, that's it. Go back. So that's just an example. I like sharing that story because it's so real. It's so undeniable that the Spirit was talking. And if I wasn't receptive, if I hadn't been prepared, I would have went in the house and dude would have said I'm in the water business. I would say, that's nice, but let's talk about your insurance. So tell me, you know, what do you think you can afford a month? How many kids you got? What you want to leave behind? But I would have totally flipped that conversation because that's not why I was there. But after I saw the signatures of the Spirit, I knew the Spirit was telling me, that ain't why you're here to sell insurance. There's something bigger. And I've made a lot more money selling water than I would have made that day selling insurance. Right? And we say, praise the Lord of all, never cheer. Right? I made a lot more money. It's still making money for us today, that one little conversation that I had with that brother. So I want to share with you this message today, and that is that God got you, right? That the Spirit has you, that you have treasures in heaven, and those treasures are there for you, but you might miss the signs. You might be at a sink. You might think that you're, and I don't want to insult you because I'm the same way, smart enough to know what it is that you're supposed to be doing. Oh, I know what I'm doing. I know what I should be doing. Okay, maybe we do. But whatever we think is minuscule, right? One of my brothers said there's a Yoruba saying that says you can't fit the ocean inside your head. Is that correct, doctor? You can't fit the ocean inside your head. So humble yourself to God, because to God, the ocean is like a drop of water. Not even that big. This planet's like a grain of sand, right? So there's a greater intelligence than us that's got our back, that has in for us to get everything that we need to survive, not only to survive, to thrive, to flourish, to get the things that we need in the material world at the same time to achieve our purpose, our destiny. And it's probably bigger than what you think. Just like this was much bigger than what I was thinking about at the time. I'm just thankful that I listened, because I saw the sign. I had no doubt. I didn't care what it cost. I knew I was going into the water business. It cost wasn't even a factor. I didn't have the money. I knew the money would come. I knew with those signs that this was something that I was meant to do. And it's something for you to do, something for you to do this year, something for you to do in the next few years. This journal is just getting yourself in sync. In here you have all those correspondences, like I gave you the correspondences, the numbers, the colors, the personalities, the type of industry. You'll find that people will come to you in a cycle and give you ideas or give you support. You're like, oh wow, that's Kamitic talking. That's Heru talking. That's Heru talking to me. Because I can see the personality, because God talks to you through other people. Total strangers. I do a little technology stuff. I've been able to help my spiritual organization, all that, with technology. And a lot of people don't know. A lot of people don't ask you. Like, how'd you get into this? I wasn't into this. Somebody just walked into the store one day and just started talking to me. And started telling me about some softwares and different things. And I was like, oh, really? Tell me more. That's something you should try one time. You know what I'm talking about. We're so broke we can't pay attention. Take that one with you. I borrowed it. We're so broke we can't pay attention. I'm telling you, if I hadn't had this conversation with his brother, and when he showed me what he showed me, and I came back and showed him that I mastered that, was ready to hear the next thing he had to say, he was like, oh, you're different. I said, oh, I'm listening. And he taught me this, and he taught me that, and by the time I finished what he had taught me and went on to the next thing, I was doing some stuff. He's like, oh, I didn't know you could do. I said, yeah. I prayed for this. And that's where it came from. And you're the same. Just people coming to you all the time. The answers that you have, God already got you, but it all can't come to your head. So it's either going to come, it'll come to you, and it'll come through you, it'll come through you, or it'll come to you. It all can't come to you in your own mind. I'm sorry. It all can't come through you in your own mind. But it'll come to you through the minds of other people, through the works of other people. So union with God is a meditation program that we're dealing with right now. If you're into or you want to get into Cometic meditation, I would recommend that you enroll in the Union with God meditation program. One of the first lessons has to do with God's omnipresence. And this is a mind-blowing thing. The symbol for the aspect of your spirit wherein your oneness with God manifests is Osir. And the symbol for Osir, the hieroglyph, is an eye. Right? That's why when you refer to yourself, you say I, because you are actually consciousness. God is consciousness. And when you say that God is omnipresent, that means that God is the witness of everything that's going on, including what's happening in your mind. So if there are things that you would do in private that you would never be caught doing in public, or in front of somebody that you respect, or your children or whatever, then you are sinning in the eye of God, because you're saying that other people's opinion of me is more important than what you see, God. Devastating, right? Devastating understanding of omnipresence. Another understanding of omnipresence is that God is within me and is within you and everybody else. So God is constantly available to talk to and to work with me through other people when I'm one with them. It's some deep stuff. But you gotta, you do the meditations, you do the assignments, and you find amazing, miraculous stuff just happening all the time. It's happening all the time to you. Stuff comes out of people's mouth to finish the thought that you had. The question that you're just like, okay, I see you guys. We're connected. We're one. God is with you, but are you with God, right? So union with God helps us to do those meditations that will increase your sensitivity, your awareness to your your share in God's omnipresence. That which is really you, not your person, that which is really you, is present within all, within everybody. And that's the ultimate, inspiration for us living in unity and harmony, resolving our oppositions. So this is what the Kamitic Meditation Journal is about. It's a process to take you through this entire year. My vision for you is that 2025 is your best year ever. It has nothing to do with who's in the White House, has nothing to do with what crazy people are going to do in this country and anywhere else in the world, has nothing to do with the people around you. None of that is your business. Your business is your business, is you, right? So this can be your best year ever in terms of your personal development, your spiritual growth, and your ability to bring forth that which is for you. Because you came to earth with your wealth. Your ability to bring it forth is another story. That's a reflection of how well you live in harmony with your destiny, right? And I see you could accelerate your growth and your accomplishment this year. You put some of the teachings in this journal, and this is not my creation. This is the distillation of what I learned sitting in that seat right there in the front, taking notes. Thank God I hadn't poisoned my mind. I was young enough, hadn't deranged myself too bad, I was able to clean myself up. I had a decent education to know how to take notes. That was one of my best classes, how to take notes. I went to school like, that's pretty good. Nobody taught me how to learn. So I was able to take that and just sit there and be like, I'm going to get this, I'm going to get this, I'm going to get this, right? So everything in here is what I learned from Ram Nefram and just have meditated and prayed. This is the result of, conversation with my children where they're like, what cycle is it? What's going on? Like, you're going to call me and ask me what cycle it is. You know not only what cycle it is, but what you're supposed to be doing, you're going to know. And when you're in violation, you're going to know. You're going to see it, right? So, any questions or anybody want to share anything before we close? Yes, sir.
One question: when you were meeting the guy about when you were meeting a gentleman about the water, and before you saw the correspondences, did you get a feeling on the inside as well? Because it seemed like you were fascinated when you heard that concept. Oh, what is this? You get like a certain feeling inside.
Yeah, I don't remember a feeling, but it was just so obvious. It just hit me upside the head. It was just so obvious. I mean, when he said, I'm in the water business, I said, oh, here we go. Because how could that possibly be? Somebody named Waters on Water Street is talking to me about the water business. So I hear what you're saying. Yes, there's lots of times that intuition will click in, but there was no moment for that to even happen because it was so clear from the very beginning. It was just one of those things where somebody has to like grab you and shake you like, pay attention to this now.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Just want to say thank you.
I'm so glad you all made it. Where did y'all come from?
We live here.
In Stonecrest?
The cop got it.
Oh, okay. An hour away?
30.
Oh, okay. Y'all are close.
Yeah.
Since I've been here, I learned everything is an hour away.
In Atlanta language.
In Atlanta, y'all is like spread out. I grew up in New York, so like everything was like, yeah, you gotta have a car down here and a good car. No, I'm so glad y'all was here and y'all made it out. I didn't have any idea. I want to thank Brother Lee Badi and Sister Nabantu and the people here at New Black Wall Street. This is an amazing thing. This is a dream come true. We had something on a much, much smaller scale. It was called Mark 125 on 125th Street in Harlem in New York many years ago. And we had a booth there, and it was all black businesses, black folks doing their thing and what have you. I'm sad to report that now 125th Street in Harlem don't look like it did back then. So prayers are that this kind of this place in this kind of effort. You know, we'll continue. If you're hearing this and you never heard of it, it's called New Black Wall Street. And does anybody know the count of the number of vendors and businesses in here? It's a bunch of them.
At least 30,
Over 30.
I would estimate.
Yeah, I think there's more.
Yeah.
And then there's several restaurants, including vegan restaurants in here. It's a beautiful enterprise. I pray that more people will wake up, come over here, intentionally spend their money. You know, that's one thing. Our business, we've been in business. We have a center in Philadelphia. We've been fortunate to be there for 31 years. We have Philadelphia's longest running vegan restaurant. Say again? Oh, come on. We've been waiting for Delaware. The Nile, like the river, the Nile Cafe. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the experience of being black in business has been good. You know, people say we don't work together, but we've had so many people come through there and they are intentional. They just came there to spend some money. You can tell they're just looking around like, what can I buy? What can I do? You know, they want to put some money in the black community. So I know we do this. We can do this. And this needs to grow and continue to expand. So if you're hearing this and you haven't been there, it's New Black Wall Street. We're in Stonecrest, Georgia. That's near Stone Mountain, right? So yeah, you definitely want to come through and support the Kwanzaa and then everything else that's going on here. Thank you all for your attention. Peace and blessings. Have a great year.
Excellent.